Okay guys, welcome to another video. In today's video, it's going to be an update video. I want to talk about the Skrama Bush Knives. I've had these for about a year now, and I also want to talk about quite a few knives. So, there's an elephant in the room that I want to address right away. So I'm going to start with the Skrama Bush Knives. I really like them. They're a really ugly Spartan knife design, a short machete, and that's what I like about them. I like that they're not meant to look pretty, but they're very effective tools. I've used this as a replacement for a hatchet, just because I can also use it as a knife fairly easily. Now this is the stainless version, and it's made out of a 41 110 stainless steel, similar to Sandvik 12C27. Many people might question that type of steel for a chopping type hard use knife. I bought it purely as an experiment. I was thinking if I'm going to be using this as kind of just a work tool, a utility tool, I don't want to be super concerned about rust and discoloration if I'm using it in wet weather, snowy conditions, and then I sheath it, forget about it, and then the next time I take it out it's full of rust. So that's why I bought that one. So the stainless, it's good. As you can see, there's a little bit of discoloration, but it's been fairly good at being stain free. It chips. Not bad, but more so than the 80 CRV2 version, and that's kind of to be expected. Not bad, but what I'd recommend is if you're just going to be using this as a weekend warrior type setting, going out camping, hiking, hacking, trees down and stuff like that, and doing kind of mock survival type training, I would recommend you go with the 80 CRV2 high carbon steel version, just because when you're done with it for the weekend you can clean it really quick with some steel wool and then oil it or put beeswax or something on it to protect it. So that's the steel. Now I want to address, I was going to call it a fatal flaw, and I might still consider it a fatal flaw. It's not a deal breaker for me. These are high value knives. They're very effective. And I'm not going to talk too much about this because I haven't used this one as much, so I haven't experienced it as bad. With this one, and call it a fatal flaw, I don't know. I really like the handle. The handle's comfortable. It's this two position affair. I like, especially in cold weather, you don't have the exposed tang running through here for a couple of reasons. The first one is less vibration, or harmonics you could say, transmitted to your hand. The bigger thing I like about it is in cold weather if you're not wearing gloves, because I find it a little easier and easier to control when I'm not wearing gloves. You don't have that metal in contact with your hand. So in cold weather, that's good. But then it also helps with vibration and harmonics. It's very comfortable. The handle itself has been fairly durable. I don't know if you can see up there some scuffing. If that concerns you, I'm sure you could sand it and smooth it every now and again, every year or so. Now here's my area of concern. So this knife I've used heavily. I've used it maybe more so than a lot of people, and I use it just as a tool. I mean, I don't know, it was 50 or 60 bucks, and for the money, very good deal, very high performance. But this is my issue with it. And I've experienced this more times than I want to admit, 5 or 6 different times. Maybe I got a lemon, but it's happened to both of them, one carbon, one stainless, so it might not be, you know, a batch issue. The handle moves, and what I mean is, the first time I noticed it, I was like, oh, maybe it came like that from the factory and I didn't realize it. If you can see this lanyard back here, the handle pretty much sits flush with it. After extended chopping, what I noticed is the handle moved back 1/8 to 1/4 inch upwards away from the blade. And I don't know how much you can see on camera, but you can see the original kind of curve outline there. And you can see even where it's at now, it's about 1/8 inch to 3/16 of an inch back from where it's supposed to be. And the only fix that I found is I'll put this in a vise or put this in like a block of wood, take a mallet and whack it a couple times, and the handle will move back. What concerns me is every time I use it, it happens worse and worse. And every time I pound on it, it's easier and easier to move the handle back to its original position. The concern isn't so much durability of breaking. You know, I'm not concerned about the blade breaking, but if you're going to town and you don't realize that, one of those chops that you make, maybe I'm being safety savvy, but the whole blade could possibly slip out of the handle. You have a thick piece of steel going airborne. That's not super safe. Now, in like a crisis situation, the handle coming off wouldn't be a deal breaker. You could wrap it with duct tape or, you know, paracord and finish what you need to do. It's more of a safety thing and a longevity issue. I haven't seen this addressed on any other videos, and maybe no one else has ran into this problem. My thinking is a lot of people that looked at this knife, they review tons and tons of knives. So maybe they only use this for a week or a couple weeks, threw a review up, and then turned around and sold this. And they don't use it, or they still have it, but they've bought in different models to test out. So each knife they have doesn't get a lot of field use. I don't know how many hours or how much time I've logged on it. It's been quite a bit, and it's been functional, but that's kind of disconcerting. Is it a deal breaker? Well, I mean, I'll let you be the judge. Like I said, if the handle came completely off, you could make a new micarta handle or something like that. But I really would hate to lose this comfortable, well-designed rubber overmold grip. So, I mean, I can't tell you buy it or not buy it. I just wanted to point it out just so you know that might be something you might run into. The other two things I want to, well, so real quick, I haven't had that issue with my smaller Chikari Puukkos. Frankly, and I think the main reason is I don't chop with these, so I don't have that momentum and that, you know, that weight trying to pull the handle out. So with these smaller knives, I have this and then the longer version. I haven't had that issue and I'm not concerned, right? So on those smaller knives, I wouldn't worry about it. So the two last knives I want to cover aren't really sold. They're sold by the same company, made by the same person, but they're blade blanks. And I did a video when I first got them and told you I'd put a handle on and do a sheath for them. And about a day or two after that video, I finished the handles and I filmed the video, and I thought I had uploaded it, and either I forgot or YouTube removed it. they've been doing that to some of my videos lately. But there it is. They turned out really well. JRE sheath, a size E. I probably could have went one size down because it sits rather deep. Maybe you like that. I've thought about putting a paracord fob on the end just so something else to grab onto, but it works very well. I wet formed them. You don't have to do that, but it really locks the knife in, and it has near Kydex retention. It worked out really well, and I think leather goes with these knives really good. So they're both very similar. This one I like a little bit more. This is the Mini Skrama. Brown or natural micarta, brass hollow pins, 30-minute hardware store epoxy, and then shaping it. The shaping didn't take that long. A couple tips is with the micarta, try and remove as much material beforehand, and then remove as much as you can with a scroll saw or a bandsaw, and then use single and double cut files. That's what I did, and the reason I say that is it produces a lot of dust. So as like the files, they produce a lot less dust than sanding. So try and remove as much material, first with some type of saw like a scroll saw or bandsaw, and then file as much as you can, and then use sandpaper. And then for the final touches, I did use a Dremel with a small sanding drum. But keep in mind, it produces a lot of dust, and you need the proper safety equipment. That's, I guess, my only tip that I'd throw. So, to Mini, you'll look at it and say, oh, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but they're insanely comfortable. They work for me. Fairly inexpensive, fairly easy. I don't know how long each knife took. I did them in tandem, but overall it was fairly easy. They were both made out of the AVCR V2. I just polished up the blade a little bit. I've sharpened them both a few times. They're very easy to get a very keen, sharp edge on, and they're just a handy size knife for camping, hiking, maybe even EDC. It's about a I don't know if you can see that, about a 3-inch blade. I think 7.5 inches overall. Not too heavy, very classy. Between those two, like I already said, I do prefer the Skrama, both in design and functionality. For some reason, for me, I can use this one a lot easier. It's a lot easier for me to use. They both have sharpened spines to use as a scraper. This one doesn't seem like it has a pointy point, but it does. It's just angled downward instead of the traditional straight out. But a very nice, strong tip. And one thing I like about this one, and it's not a big deal, but as you can see, there's not a lot of curvature to the blade. So when it comes to sharpening, this, for me, stropping it, it's just a lot easier to strop. It's a lot easier to maintain a sharp, keen edge. All things being equal, they're both easy. This one's just a little easier. Performance-wise, for some reason, this works a lot better. And I mean, just overall, I like this one a lot more. They're both awesome knives. Can't tell you that much more about them. So hopefully you guys liked this video. It was kind of off the wall, but I realized that I've owned these for close to a year now, and I've been using them a lot. And so I just kind of wanted to shoot an update, not really a review. The main takeaway is that handle. And I mean, if the company watches this, maybe consider, I mean, it's really hard. I really like the handle. I was about to say maybe consider a redesign, but the handle itself's very comfortable and very good. It's just I ran into that issue. I don't know. It could be a lemon, but it happened on both of them. This one, it just has been happening a lot more because I use this more. So, you know, it's just really annoying because the knife in general, the steel, this will last a lifetime of hard use. But the handle, I'm concerned eventually this handle is just going to slide on and off. At that point, maybe I'll make a micarta handle for it. But hopefully you guys like this video. It's ran long enough. Go back to my homepage, watch some of my current videos. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. And if you have any questions or if you want me to elaborate any farther, ask any questions down in the comments below.